identified 3 projects for the Department of Planning, the Department of Information Technology, and the Maryland Department of Transportation to be funded again immediately by using cash. Now turning to the Department of Natural Resources, colleagues, you find that on pages 9 through 13. The subcommittee made technical corrections to the authorizing language of the local parks and playgrounds infrastructure program, restricting funding for projects until a report is submitted, and allocating funding for individual parks and local jurisdictions. Mr. Chairman and colleagues, upon further consideration, we know that counties are getting a certain amount of money, and I know that for Howard County there was still money that was unallocated, so I wanted to modify that. For Waterloo Park, it was already included in the subcommittee's decisions. I'd like to add $400,000 to that, so that project should be funded at $550,000. I'd like to add $1.2 million to Bland Air Regional Park, and that now should be funded at $1.7 million. I'd like to add Savage Park for $2 million, Patuxent Branch Trail $1 million, and the North Laurel Community Center for $2 million. So I will move that to be part of the overall $85 million of parks allocation.
By the way, thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all because I was a little tardy in doing the work I should have done. That was all part of our original allocation. It's not new money.
Yep. And you weren't tardy at all, Mr. Chairman. It flows perfectly with this. Okay. The subcommittee also added authorization for the departments of critical maintenance programs and specified how the funding is to be allocated. And colleagues, you can find that on pages 13 through 16. The subcommittee also adopted narrative on the impact of the Maryland Department of Health's Facilities Master Plan, and that can be found on page 17. 3 projects in the Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services will be funded immediately with cash, and that's being used for the Rainy Days Fund, as seen on pages 18 and 19. For the Interagency Commission on School Construction, that's on pages 20 through 22, the subcommittee adopted language for a technical amendment clarifying statutory allocations, and it added funds for the School Construction Revolving Loan Fund. Within the University System in Maryland, on pages 23 through 31, the subcommittee wanted to use funds immediately fund it immediately with cash, utilizing the Rainy Day Fund, and that supports 9 projects. On page 24, the subcommittee added funding for a quantum advanced computing project at the University of Maryland College Park campus. For Bowie State University, the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, Coppin State University, and the University of Maryland Center for Environmental Science, the subcommittee added funding for various facilities renewal projects on pages 25, 27, 29, and 31. The subcommittee adopted narrative on page 32 requesting a report on institutions meeting their 2% goal. The subcommittee added funds to the deferred maintenance program at Baltimore City Community College and funded another project with cash from the Rainy Day Fund, and that's on page 33. On page 34, the subcommittee added funding for the St. Mary's College of Maryland for various campus infrastructure improvements and request for a report on an updated facilities renewal policy. Turning to page 35 for the Maryland School for the Deaf, the subcommittee used funds from the Rainy Day Fund to support 1 project using cash. On page 36 and 37, the subcommittee fully funded the Community College Construction Grant Program in the Maryland Higher Education Commission in the Rainy Day Fund and added additional general obligation funding for the Catherine and Isaiah Leggett Math and Science Building and the Dr. Charlene Mickens Duke Student Center. For Morgan State University, the subcommittee adopted narrative and added additional funding for deferred maintenance and site improvements on page 38. On the following page, 2 projects were funded with cash from the Rainy Day Fund. On page 40, in the University of Maryland Medical System, the subcommittee used cash from the Rainy Day Funds for 1 project and added funds for the Capital Regional Medical Center Oncology Center. The subcommittee replaced general obligation bond funds with cash from the Rainy Day Fund for 6 projects in the Department of Environment, the Maryland Environmental Service, the Department of Juvenile Services, and the Department of State Police on pages 41 through 44. Actions pertaining to the Miscellaneous Grant Program begin on page 45 and continue through page 103. The subcommittee added funds to 26 of the governor's miscellaneous projects and reduced funding for 2 projects. The subcommittee also adopted technical amendments for 12 projects. Mr. Chairman, since there's a lot of moving pieces with this, even though we wanted to make sure that we also recognized a few other projects that we didn't have a chance to discuss yesterday. We propose adding funding for 3 projects, $1.8 million for the North Bay Environmental Education Center, $10.5 million for the Only Theater Center renovation, and $1 million for the Port Discovery Children's Museum. I'd move these amendments to the prior subcommittee decisions. And on page 45, 47, and 53, the subcommittee restricted funds for 3 projects pending the submission of reports. On page 57, the subcommittee adopted narrative requesting a report on the Maryland Food Center Authority project. Actions pertaining to local Senate initiatives appear, you can find that, colleagues, on from pages 104 to 127. So just take a look at that. And then on page 128, the local jails and detention centers, the subcommittee requested quarterly population reports from the local jails. On page 129, in section 1 of the bill, the subcommittee added language clarifying the allocation of bond premiums. For section 2, on pages 130 through 135, the subcommittee amended prior authorizations. The subcommittee also added pre-authorizations and added additional funds to pre-authorizations in sections 13, 14, and 15 that could be found on pages 136 through 156. Mr. Chairman, before moving adoption of the capital budget subcommittee recommendations, I'd like to just separate items related to Shepherd Pratt that could be found on page 61 for the purpose of members who wish to take the rule. So I would make a motion to move the items first on page 61 on Shepherd Pratt, and let's vote on that, and then we can vote on the other piece, and then I can move them together, Mr. Chair.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Take the rule.
So now on the other pieces of the subcommittee report, I would move favorable on that.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Very good.
Now, Mr. Chairman, I'd move adoption of the entire subcommittee report as amended.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Well done. That was good timing, too,
Good timing.
because I got to leave. We'll probably, let's see if we can, we'll see if we can squeeze it in. Let's, why don't you come back at 2:30 for some possible voting, okay?